What's going on, everybody? This is John with SDGC, and tonight I am joined by two very close old friends of the podcast, Anthony Agnello and Josh Silverman. And what's going on, fellas? How we doing?
Hello.
Doing all right. Got a nasty cough, so I will be muting myself periodically.
Oh, that's all right. That's fine. That's how we. You know what? Don't mute yourself. Just cough on mic. That's how we do it here at SDGC, man. It's a trash fire. You know this.
Yeah.
And so tonight we're going to be doing a little spoiler cast for Kingdom Hearts 3. And shout out to Aiden Strawhun, my friend over in San Francisco. She was going to join us tonight, but she was not able to finish the game in time. So I'll talk all my theories with her later. But gentlemen, so Kingdom Hearts 3 in development since 1994. Finally,
went into development on the PC engine.
On the Commodore 64. Actually, I hear, Anthony. It's a long gestating product. Kingdom Hearts 3 is. If I'm not mistaken, the 9th game in the series, guys.
It is the 13th game.
Jesus
in the series.
fucking Christ! So hold on. Are we counting Kingdom Hearts Unite?
Yes, you're counting. You gotta count everything.
Counting it. We gotta count everything. Okay. All right.
You gotta count
John,
every
I would like to
single
point
game.
out there are 3 games that retell the story of the first game, and all of those games have been remade. All 3 of them. That's
God, I love this
best
series.
thing.
I love this fucking series.
But they do retell it in new and interesting ways. For anyone listening audio, I did do air quotes. Let's just be clear.
Yes, yeah, it should be known. This is why I love this exercise at all, because we're claiming to be doing a Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler cast, but spoiler, you can't spoil a Kingdom Hearts game.
You really can't.
Impossible.
You really can't. So you can spoil it in the sense that, if you show a video of the last boss battle, for example, I would consider that spoiling it. Even though it's Xehanort, know it's Xehanort, but
you don't
come
know
on,
in what setting. You don't know what exactly. So that would be
exactly.
the closest
And I
thing
said
to
that on
spoiler.
Twitter too, right? I was like, man, what a great final boss battle with Xehanort, and somebody was like, spoilers, and I was like, okay, dude, if you don't know that Xehanort is going to be the final boss of Kingdom Hearts 3, then I don't know what else to tell you, dude. That's not really a spoiler. But speaking of spoilers, let's go ahead and dive right into it, because this is a game, all joking aside, we've all been waiting for this game since 2013 when it was first announced.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 6 fucking years. This game was in development. Actually longer, because it had clearly been in the pot for a little bit before they announced it at E3 in 2013.
Oh, sure.
Let's be clear that the Pirates of the Caribbean world referenced here is a film from goddamn 2007.
2007, yeah. Just like Tangled. Tangled came out when? In 2009?
A
2009,
long time ago.
Yeah, so, and just even thinking that Big Hero 6 came out 4 years ago really makes me feel elderly now. I feel fucking old. Because I got to that world and I was like, man, oh cool, a recent Disney World. I looked it up, I was like, 2014. Jesus Christ! What the fuck is happening to my life?
Hey, I'm looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 4 coming out in time for my kids to graduate high school with Moana references.
I'm actually going to be playing. I'm going to enjoy playing Kingdom Hearts 4 at age 62 with my grandson, who will then be 20. So it's going to be a really good time. It's gonna be a really good time.
do the math right now.
The thing that was so remarkable to me is when Kingdom Hearts 3, when I sat down to start it, my 2.5-year-old daughter, I called her in. I was like, look, honey, there's Mickey and Donald and Goofy. You love them. And as she's sitting in my lap, I was like, when I started playing this series, it was on launch day, and I ditched class. Because classes were still a thing that I took when
I
this
was
started.
I was convinced to play Kingdom Hearts, if I remember right. I was convinced to play the original Kingdom Hearts junior year of high school in the library where I wasn't eating lunch by a kid who was so stoned out of his mind that he just kept repeating he's like, you gotta play it. I'm like, dude, I don't like Disney. And he's like, no, Final Fantasy, man. And what are you eating?
Yeah,
and that's my earliest memory of Kingdom Hearts.
I remember playing Kingdom Hearts before the Marine Corps when I was working as a waiter down south with absolutely no direction in my life at all. So Kingdom Hearts represents a really, really interesting time in my life.
John, I always assumed that you were drawn to Kingdom Hearts in 2002 for the exact same reason I was. You saw screens in a Game Informer or a Game Pro magazine, and you thought, finally, more Squall. They're giving me more Squall, and I gotta have it.
I remember seeing that ad.
That's
and I was
actually
like,
what did convince me.
I remember seeing that ad, and I was like, he's still the best looking guy at the dance.
Yep.
So let's so Kingdom Hearts 3. Right off the bat, guys, I will go ahead and this might be controversial because I know a lot of people are going to say no, Kingdom Hearts 2, strongest collection of Disney worlds in the series.
Extra bold.
I think if we're talking like from an aesthetic standpoint, like Tangled, oh my god, such a beautiful fucking
Gorgeous.
world. Like
Yeah.
Oh, and Twilight Town actually feels lived in. Guys, it has NPCs. Twilight Town has bustling activity. It has people living there. It's not a barren wasteland anymore. And you know, like granted, I was a little disappointed that San Francisco felt as lifeless as it did.
San Francisco so back in.
Until you go back in, yeah, that's true.
It still feels like a rushed world. It's just a gigantic open map. It doesn't feel at the same level of love as the rest of the levels.
Yeah, that bears out.
I agree, but guys, so can we agree that pound for pound the strongest world was Pirates of the Caribbean this time?
Oh man, it was so great.
And
just
visually, the rain, Anthony, like oh my god, just blew me away.
Every single time, once I realized how much there actually was to do in the islands,
I wasted like
get the ship, I was
5 hours in that world, dude.
Yeah, it was so.
Maxing out the ship level.
Yeah, maxing out the ship level, finding the treasure troves, and they were all useful treasure troves. Like if I didn't spend time exploring in Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't think I would have leveled up any of the Keyblades past 2 or 3. And you find so many raw materials, and it's so legitimately rewarding. Like that's when you say, John, that this is the best collection of Disney worlds, it's not just the best representations of these places, it's the richest selection of worlds, because there's always something a little bit different. Even if Big Hero 6 is a big open map, at least it's a big open map in a very different way than any place else you go. The only one that's disappointing to me in the entire game is Monsters Inc., and that's not necessarily on the game. There's just not a whole lot there to work with.
So
unless you were going into kids' rooms, and that would be
a little
wildly inappropriate.
Yeah. So like, but then like you could have tied it directly into Toy Story, right? Like if like there, I feel like there's a missed opportunity for a crossover there. But like, I would agree with you, and then I'll kick it over to Josh after this. But I'll say this: like I feel like I would agree with you on Monsters Inc. solely, and again, I don't even necessarily think this is a problem of the game so much as it is I really wanted to fight Randall. Really wanted to fight Randall, and you don't get that. And that's one thing that really actually struck me about this, guys, is that you don't fight a lot of the Disney villains. You fight Davy Jones, you fight Marshmallow from the Frozen world, and that's really it. Oh, I'm sorry, Baymax. You fight Dark Baymax, a version of Baymax, which almost broke my wife. She was watching me do that, and like she couldn't give a shit about Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy, but she saw me beating up on and she was like, "Oh no, it's the Baymax that he left behind," and she was like, "No." But I was a little disappointed by the lack of major Disney villain boss fights. Josh?
No, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's not to change a different subject, but the Disney villain boss fights, which the series has kind of always had, and then also the lack of Final Fantasy stuff are two just noticeable things.
Oh, that's another one, yeah.
Like, it was just hard. I mean, the Final Fantasy thing is what most people are noticing. It's the stronger noticing thing. But, like, even the Disney villains, until you just said that, it didn't occur to me that there's only, like, if you count Baymax essentially as, like, a half a thing, kind of, there's only, like, 2.5 Disney villains in this whole thing.
And that's fight.
That's kind of surprising.
So like, I don't know. Let me ask you guys this though. Like Mother Gothel in Tangled, and Hans in Frozen. Do they turn into Heartless? Like, do you technically fight them? Like
you're technically fighting them. Yeah.
That's technically the fight. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I don't know. Like, are we gonna count them as Disney villains that you're fighting per se?
It counts that you are technically having a narrative encounter with the villain of the game, but it's different than
beating the shit out of Clayton
Which,
Or-
oh
or-
god, it was so good. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
great fight.
the brutal fight against Hades in the Colosseum in
Mhm.
Kingdom Hearts 2, Jafar in Kingdom Hearts 1. Those things are absent. But I think in this game, this is so specifically focused on wrapping up the story of
It is.
Organization 13.
it's too focused sometimes.
And that's the
Yeah.
problem, right? And which is why, honestly, like I might get some flack for this, but one of the worlds I was most impressed with visually and aesthetically, but also the most disappointed with, was Toy Story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I loved that world.
Because
I loved every second of it.
I hated that world.
I love
Oh.
so here's my deal, right? Like, I loved the aesthetic of the world. Like, when I jumped onto the roof of Andy's house, I was like, God, I was like, I'm fucking never coming home. Like, but then, like, I felt like navigating Galaxy Toys was just tedious and
That's what I hated.
and cumbersome. And what a missed opportunity! Like, why couldn't you fight Zurg, Emperor Zurg? Like,
you don't like that Woody and Buzz join you in having to defeat a Japanese sex doll?
like a
in a
giant,
toy
like
store?
what was that? Like why
It's a
couldn't
giant sex doll.
like why couldn't you just fight Emperor Zurg? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, and I know that might be petty and small, but I feel like take the boss of that world, for example, which is basically just like a heartless spaceship that has no real connection to Toy Story at all. And I was like, why couldn't they just be Zurg? Like it makes sense, right? Like, just why couldn't that be Zurg? It just, I don't know. I feel like the Toy Story world, more than any other world, and I'll kick it over to you, Anthony, had practically zero to do with the plot.
Oh, I couldn't disagree more.
Okay, no,
disagree more.
please, no, this is what I want.
The thing I played Toy Story, the Toy Story world first, and the thing that I delighted in the Toy Story world is that it did what the Tron world did in the original in Kingdom Hearts 2, which it said, we are not going to familiarize you with this world at all,
Yeah.
and we are just going to tell a completely original story. Like, we're going to vaguely reference events from one of the previous films. Like, maybe this is taking place after Toy Story 2, but we don't know. And I love how truly aggressively weird it is. That all of these characters that you're so familiar with are trapped in a predicament that is not different than the one that Sora and his friends are.
That's a
And
solid point.
Yeah, I like that Buzz and Woody are basically adrift in the exact same way that Sora is. I love that Kingdom Hearts 3 starts on such a bummer note, where Sora is not a destined hero. He's screwed. He messed up, and he's lost all the things that he should have been able to hold on to. You know, he's having a legitimate setback. And I love that that's happening for the character, and I love that he gets to see other figures step up. Like, the fact that I get to see Woody have an existential crisis of being like, wait a second, the world doesn't exist! Buzz, your guns work like guns! Nothing works! Like, perfect. Amazing. That's exactly how weird I want Kingdom Hearts to be at its best.
Josh, what about you, man? Like, I don't just limit it to Toy Story, but what do you feel like if you had to pick a world that resonated with you the least? What world is that?
I mean, Toy Story would have been my I would think Toy Story would be my pick, just because, again, I was bothered by the openness of the world and stuff like that. But thinking about it, like hearing the discussion about it, honestly, the story of the world still was good, even if, like, I didn't like the gameplay of the world. So the story and stuff, it still resonated well enough. Honestly, probably, and this is going to be painful for me to say, Twilight Town.
Yeah.
I think
I can see that.
Twilight Town's my absolute all-time. It was my absolute all-time favorite world with Kingdom Hearts 2. Roxas is very near and dear to my heart. Before naming my second kid Sora, I almost convinced my wife to name the kid Roxas.
Oh God.
Came very close. He was supposed to be Sora X, by the way, just to be a complete douche. But no, Roxas is very near and dear to me. I love the data Twilight Town. I love exploring that world. I loved the mini games. I probably if not for my obsession with grinding at levels in Kingdom Hearts 1, I probably spent more time in Twilight Town from Kingdom Hearts 2 than all the worlds honestly combined between struggle and stuff. So to see it in this game and yes, it is full of life. It's vibrant. There's a lot going on.
But you spend like 5 minutes there the whole game.
Yeah, you're there. You're there barely any time. It's a tiny section of the town. You go through this little tunnel, and then it's the forest and the mansion, and you don't even get to go inside the mansion. It's just this tiny slice of what was probably one of the biggest maps previously.
Yeah.
And the only logical reasons to go back there would be the Moogle shop for the postcards, the Huey, Dewey, and Louie shop, and the bistro. And 2 of those 3 things can be accessed anywhere.
Yeah. The bistro and the Moogle shop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying Huey, Dewey, and Louie's shop.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
But the Moogles can be accessed anywhere. The only thing that you have to go there for is the postcards. Which the only important thing about that is it's a way to get the ultimate weapon. Otherwise, those postcards are useless.
And then you just and all you do is you just save scum it over and over and over until you get the Aura Chalcum Plus. Like that's
no. See, here's the other thing.
That's what I did. I'm not
money is completely and utterly useless in this game. I never spent money on absolutely anything in 50 plus hours playing. So I didn't even bother save scumming. I had 30,000 money, so I just bought a potion left. And I think I spent like 6,000 before I got the plus.
Is there, and this is, somebody fill me in, I am almost convinced that this is the case, but I can't remember specifically. Is the reason that you do not go to Traverse Town because Traverse Town no longer physically exists in continuity?
Because of Dream Drop Distance, right? Because it was a dream world.
Yeah.
Right. The actual place gets destroyed by the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, I think.
Yeah, presumably I think we are Traverse Town doesn't exist. Which is fine. Traverse Town is great. The music is phenomenal. But my biggest oversight is why can't I just go to Radiant Gardens? Yeah. Hollow Bastion has been in every numbered game, and it was in Birth by Sleep. Give me fucking
So like and it sounds like we're really down on the game. Everybody, we're not. We're just getting. We're getting the stuff. We're getting this. We're getting the bad stuff out of the way first. One other thing I was disappointed in, and it ties in actually a bit to Twilight Town, was the utter lack of Final Fantasy characters. Like you guys know I'm a huge Final Fantasy guy. I know Anthony is too. There's no Cid, there's no Setzer, there's no there's no Cypher, there's no Fujin, there's no Raijin, there's no Vivi, there's no Cloud, there's no Sephiroth, there's no Auron. I mean, there is nothing. There is nothing, and I feel like one of my favorite moments from Kingdom Hearts 2, and like you guys know me in Final Fantasy 6, right? That's my favorite thing of all time, right? And one of my favorite moments from 6. Or from 2 was I've first played Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was in Afghanistan in a little hut, right?
Damn.
And when you fight and when Setzer Gabiani from Final Fantasy 6 pops up, I was like, oh shit! I was like, fuck, here we go. Like moments like that when you see those Final Fantasy characters that you love pop up, like when you don't expect them to, is just what was traditionally one of the great things about Kingdom Hearts, and there is literally nothing, and there's no explanation for what happened to any of them.
It's why I brought up the absence of Traverse Town, because at least in that case you'd be like, well, narratively speaking, Cid and Neku from The World Ends With You and Squall are, the reason they were all in Traverse Town. That can be justified. Aerith, the Yuna and Riku and
Yuffie,
Pain,
there's no Yuffie,
fine, but there's no logic at all to not have Setzer, Cypher, and Vivi in Twilight Town. Why wouldn't they be there?
Cloud? Where the hell was Cloud?
Twilight Town's literally there's somebody saying where's Cypher. Like there's one of the repeated dialogues, something to that effect is asking about him over and over again. So it's like literally one developer on this game was sitting there and had a question. Where is Cypher?
What if that was actually a developer in the game who didn't understand and he snuck that line of dialogue in to kind of like give a big fuck you to Square Enix? He walked into the booth one day and said, "Where's Cypher?" and just stuck it in the game and just had it loop from various NPCs.
I would be very happy.
Oh my god. So I don't know, it sounds like we're really down on the game and we're not. No,
If you
please,
don't mind,
please.
well, there's something I want to read here. I was thinking about this. So you're saying it sounds like we're really down the game, and this is a tweet that I put out back on February 2nd. So 11 days ago. Kingdom Hearts 3 is utterly baffling to me. I'm loving practically every minute, but I'm not sure I've ever complained about a game more. I feel strong moments of disappointment while playing, and yet overall, it may be my favorite in the series.
It's an
And
it's an interesting dichotomy, right? Like the combat is bar none the best it's ever been. The best it's ever been, and the game is also way too fucking easy at the same time. Way too easy, stupid easy.
Playing on Proud, the game is one of the easiest games I've ever played.
I'm fine with that. I have never ever since the original game played a Kingdom Hearts on anything but easy. I am not here to be taxed by some nonsense on the road to a secret ending.
I will say this though, Anthony, I think we can all agree, like, for whatever reason, as soon as you hit Keyblade Graveyard, that difficulty spike takes a serious fucking bump. I was like, God, like some of those final boss fights, I was like, God damn. Like,
not on easy.
Shit.
That final boss fight against Xehanort is the only time I ever had to use items the entire game, and I regret nothing.
So imagine playing it on Proud, Anthony. Go ahead, Josh.
No.
I had to use one high potion in that final boss fight, but no. Here's the thing: the shot luck from so there's a sequence where you are chasing I forget the exact name of it, but like a Grim Reaper character who has everyone's hearts, and you're going.
Oh, the Lich. Yeah, it's the Lich.
Yeah, the Lich. Thank you. I had the Nano Gear, the Big Hero 6 Keyblade.
The Keyblade.
2 hits of the shot luck killed it in every single world on Proud mode without the slightest hint of difficulty. And that seemed like it should have been a hard thing. And then against Xehanort, there's a part when you first walk into the final world where you're...
Kylum?
Thank you. Yeah. There's 13, guys all masked and whatnot that you fight. I literally pulled the Ultra Weapon shot luck out, hit that. They didn't load in the game fully. Literally, the game did not fully load in the fucking fight because it was so overpowered. To be fair, I was like level 65.
Okay. Oh, so, dude, you were like 30 levels over leveled for that. Like, you were way over leveled for that.
I didn't even grind. Most King of Heart games I grind. Like, that literally just happened. That was Pirates. Pirates, I went up 25 fucking levels.
Oh, because you wandered around for hours and hours and hours is why.
Yeah.
So, I got a question. Like, you brought it up, and this has actually been on my mind for a bit now. Like, the 13 mysterious adversaries in Scala Ed Kylum, like, was that Organization 13? Was that like the shells? Because they had all the weapons. Like, one had Zigbar's guns, and one had Dennis's guitar.
The idea is that Xehanort can pull every single substantiation of himself in history to that place all at once.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's the fragments of his soul that are inhabiting the other.
Okay, so those were basically the pieces of his heart that were inside the rest of the actual members of organization. Okay, that makes so that makes sense, right? And,
sure.
I mean, I guess, right? Like in the context, like I
in the context, yes.
I struggled to connect Kingdom Hearts lore and sense.
But like that's the thing. Like the fact that you have to ask that question at all goes back to the idea of like doing a Kingdom Hearts spoiler cast. Like you can spoil technically what physically happens in the game, but it's not like you can spoil what it's about.
I'll tell you what though, that final boss fight, let's talk about the Keyblade Graveyard and everything beyond, right? Because I honestly felt like the last 5 hours of this game were the strongest 5 hours in the entirety of the series, because it was just hit after hit after hit, emotional beat after emotional beat, and like for example, and it was just the little things that got me. Like for example, fighting Ansem and Xemnas again, and hearing that boss music that played when you fought Ansem way back in Kingdom Hearts 1, I was like, oh god. I was like, oh, these fucking feelings. And finally laying these characters to rest, and I don't know, like hearing, like when you defeat Xemnas, hearing him voice his regret for the way he treated the members of Organization 13, I was just like, oh man, I was like, oh, this is some good shit right here. Like I am
the first emotion I've felt in years, and it's loneliness.
Yeah. I was like, wow, he's me in high school, but like it was I was so dank and dark in high school. Nobody understood my pain. But I mean, really, like from the moment you hit the Keyblade graveyard, just that moment, guys, that moment when Terra Nort is confronting Aqua and Sora and the rest, and all of a sudden Lingering Will pops in, and he says, I've waited a long time for this moment. Dude, I was off the couch. I was yelling. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh my God, it's finally fucking happening. And I don't know, man. Like, and then there was that moment when you had to throw, it was the most ridiculous moment in the entire game, when you had to throw all the millions of Keyblades into the giant Heartless Tornado, and it was all the usernames from Unity.
My God.
So badass.
I was looking for my username, by the way.
Here's my thing, though, guys. Like, I never played Unity. I know what it was because I dive into Kingdom Hearts lore, but I never played Unity. Imagine how somebody who has no fucking idea what that is, who's played the Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, and has never played Unity, they're like, what the fuck is even happening right now?
I don't think they're real usernames.
They were.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Because they cycle. They cycle as you go through.
But even so, like, imagine somebody playing this and just going, "What the fuck is even happening right now?" Who has no idea what Unity is?
Yeah.
Yep. No, I mean that's definitely a case. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot in this game that if you've not played Unity / watched what is it, the back cover movie, that by that last 5 hours, this game makes less sense than it has any fucking right to be if you don't have at least a passing knowledge of those two things. I mean, Kingdom Hearts is mocked for not making a lot of sense, but you can, again, within lore and understanding, you can understand where things are coming from and the basic ideas. But the back, maybe not the last hour of the game is almost nonsense without a knowledge of those particular products.
You know what's funny, Josh, is that somebody at work actually asked me. They were like, "Hey, John, so I've never played any of the Kingdom Hearts games. Kingdom Hearts 3 looks dope. Do I need to play? Can I play Kingdom Hearts 3 without playing the others?" And I was like, you know what the best comparison is like, you ever heard the story of the Necronomicon? And I was like, if you read it, you'll go fucking insane. And he was like, no. I was like, well, look it up, because playing Kingdom Hearts 3 blind with absolutely no knowledge at all of Kingdom Hearts lore, I was like, you'll get 10 minutes into the game and you will lose your fucking sanity. You will literally. It is like reading the fucking Necronomicon.
I've played every game in this series, some of them multiple times. I got about 30 minutes of that game, and I still didn't know what the fuck was going on half the time.
But like that's the magic of it, because you can get to the end of that game, and you're right, without the context of the movie that comes with 2.8 or having played Unity at all, it seems like gobbledygook. But if you remember what it was actually like to play Kingdom Hearts 1, the beginning of it seems comprehensible. You're like,
it's starting like the original game did.
My crush from Island School, or whatever the hell these children are doing, has disappeared into a strange door with Brown Hood Man, and I guess I need to follow her, and now Disney princesses are being threatened by a shadowy cabal of monsters, and that's fine for like 15 hours. And then it starts going off the goddamn rails. And you're like, a scientist named Ansem the Wise? What are you even talking about? And it does, all of like the details of how everything fits together is so secondary to the feel and the texture and the tone of each moment that, like, who cares? Who cares why there are a stream of names appearing next to Sora as he tosses millions of Keyblades?
Oh yeah, no, dude. At that point, like, I've played all the games, and at that point, I just checked out mentally. I was like, well, I was like, I don't know what this is, but god damn it, I am in. That's fine. Like, whatever. Fucking like take my mind and just wash me away, Nomura. Like, I'm perfectly okay with it. Let me ask you guys a question. Speaking of story beats and emotion, so like, what did you guys? Because basically every single member of Organization 13. Including Ansem and Xemnas, like basically almost everybody repented when you beat them. They were like Luxord, and like they were all.
Xehanort repents.
Xehanort repents. Like I thought it was wholesome in a way. Like it was really like I was a little surprised that Xehanort. Like don't get me wrong, I love that image of or that moment when Xehanort realizes that that Ericus has been inside Terra's body the whole time, and he's because he makes that quote. Terra says that line from Ericus, and he goes and he realizes it, and he's like, "You sly fox."
Well, there's so much emotion in the eyes of Xehanort. I was blown away how much emotion they animated into this character in that one scene, because it's just there's so much there.
The funny thing about Xehanort, though, is that you can tell, like, Rutger Hauer, like, I love his voice, and his tone is perfect for Xehanort, but I said this on Twitter, and I'll say it here. You could tell he was handed those lines and had no fucking idea what was happening, and he could not hide his confusion at what he was being asked to read, and it showed.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, he did a good job, but you could tell he was reading this, and he was like, in the back of his head, he's like, I don't get paid enough for this shit. Like,
I was so mad that you tweeted that, because I was a little more than halfway through the game, and then I literally could not get that thought out of my head every time, because his voice bugged me like a little bit, like his confusion. But then the moment you tweeted that, I just, every time Xehanort spoke, I'm just like, he sounds so confused.
Yeah, he's like, finally, it's time to forge the Keyblade. Like, it's like I'm Ron Burgundy. It's like, damn it, who typed a teleprompter? Who typed a question mark into the script? Whatever you put in that script, Hauer will read.
It doesn't help that nobody commits to utter nonsense like Leonard Nimoy did.
That was what I was
like. Leonard Nimoy would commit to a line like, "Hey, Starscream, shut the hell up, and I'm gonna kill you" in the Transformers movies. So
well, not only that, but it's like
it's
like I can imagine them saying like, "Okay, Mr. Nimoy, we understand the script is," and then he just cuts them off, and he's like, "Young man, I recorded an album called the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. Do you understand the shit I've been asked to read in my lifetime? This is nothing. Like, this is just this is Tuesday for me." Like Leonard Nimoy brought such a gravitas to that role, and he was like, don't get me wrong, I like at the end of the day, Rutger Hauer did a fine job, but man, Nimoy was missed at the same time.
Oh yeah.
He
Hauer
really was.
Hauer nails it when it really counts. When he hands the Keyblade to Sora and says, "Well done,"
or I'll take it a step further than that, Anthony. The moment when I was like, okay, Rutger, good job, was when Ericus looks at him and he says, "Ready?" And Xehanort just looks at him. He goes, "Yes."
Oh.
And I was like, okay, he sold it there, like, because like you could just like that look on his face. That was Xehanort saying like, "Yeah, I'm tired, man. I've had enough. Good. I'm tired." And like that moment where his body at the end is finally his old ass body is finally giving out, and Ericus is there to help him up. And I was just like, God, I was like, oh, that's the only way, because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna waste Xehanort, right? Like I'm gonna cut this guy in half. But then I was like, I like this better. This is the only way this could have ended now. Like it was perfect. It ended perfectly, and the fight with Xehanort himself was so epic. It was so epic when it got all Inception-y when you're fighting him in his goat. By the way, goat Xehanort, goat armor Xehanort is best Xehanort. I'm just gonna throw that out there now. The goat armor is
giant goat underwater Xehanort is.
That's the only part of the fight I didn't like, Anthony. I was like, fucking underwater section. Damn it! Like, why? Why are you doing this to me, Nomura? But the fight itself, like when you reach the top of Skella and Kylum, and halfway through that fight, he raises the platform up and summons Kingdom Hearts, and then all of a sudden he's sitting on the giant white Organization 13 throne, and all his shadows are coming at you. And I was, what a fucking fight that was! That was the perfect way. That was a perfect way to end that. Well, actually, no, I take that back. The series is not over. Kingdom Hearts is not. So let's let's talk about that, right? So the secret ending. Full disclosure, I just looked it up on YouTube because I was like, fuck, there's so many other games to play. I don't have time to do all that right now. So
every lucky emblem, ultimate weapons, every recipe, I lost my mind.
Look at you,
Madman.
Look at you, man. Like just brag. Why? Just brag about it.
I have a kid named Sora. Okay, I've committed.
But so the epilogue first. So Xigbar has been Lushu the entire time.
Yep.
And which is mind blowing to me, because I mean I don't think anybody fucking saw that one coming.
That is so not see it coming that it almost
Feels like a
doesn't feel like
troll. It almost feels
like a troll. That was one of 3 times when I was playing last night where I audibly realized, oh my god, I'm yelling what the fuck over and over and over again at 2:00 in the morning. Like I'm literally was yelling the fuck, what,
Yeah.
what? Like I couldn't control. Like it just suddenly realized it was happening because I was just like, so what the hell is this nonsense? In a good way.
And then you have it's the foretellers. And then you have the foretellers appear, and I was like, okay, man, they're really going for the whole unity thing.
All but Ava.
Yeah, Ava was not present. Ava wasn't there. I can't remember the names of the others. One begins with a G. I can't remember their names. Yeah. But so this is clearly and then you had the black box that Maleficent and Pete were looking for, and I still don't fucking know what the hell any of that. That was not explained at all. The black box.
They were literally Maleficent and Pete existed in this game solely to set up the next game. There was no other reason for them there. It was nuts.
Which is a shame because I thought Pete's boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 was one of the best boss fights in the entire game.
It's a good fight.
Yeah.
Oh, I also love in Birth by Sleep, his arc across all the storylines.
Pete's story in Birth by Sleep is so good.
It really is. Yeah.
The fall of Pete.
I really want more out of Maleficent and Pete moving forward. I was kind of disappointed, but I was understanding.
So they're clearly going to be in whatever comes next, right? Like Maleficent and Pete are going to be there. This is obviously going to be the story about the Forerunners. I don't believe that Zigbar is going to stay Zigbar. I think he's going to take a different form.
Sure.
Because I think they're going to want to separate. They're going to want to make a clean cut from the Xehanort saga. So I expect him to take some different form as Luxu. And then there's so there's the black box. We don't know what the fuck is going on there. And then there's the secret ending, which I thought was really interesting. So and by the way, I was confused before the credits rolled when Sora disappeared. I was like, okay, is Sora dead? Did he fucking vanish? And what just happened? Right? Because the ending itself isn't very long. It's not a very long ending. I was like, that's it. After all of that, that's it. But then we get, we get the epilogue. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I looked up the secret ending. And Sora, and here's where things get fucking wild by even by Kingdom Hearts standards. Here's where things get fucking wild. So Sora wakes up in what I think is Shibuya. Am I on point here? Is that Shibuya?
It's 100% Shibuya.
And then and Riku is there for some reason, and then that one guy, what's the
guy
Yosora, what the fuck is that guy's name? The character Yoroza from Ventus Ventus Rex or whatever it's called, and I think that's what it's called. But I was like, okay, what the fuck is even happening? And then somebody who I think is the Master of Masters,
presumably
on a building, making the Kingdom Hearts sign over the moon. And at that point, I was like, okay, so I'm apparently on fucking acid, and I don't know it. What? Anthony, what the fuck? What was that? Explain that shit to me.
My very first thought when I was watching it was Tetsuya Nomura sitting at his computer writing the script, and in his head being like, "I'll fucking show you Final Fantasy Versus 13 into another game. I'll make Final Fantasy Versus 13 all I like. Just watch me."
Yeah.
But I as tempting as I am by the thought, as tempted as I am to think that this is Sora going to the real world, I think it's far more likely that we're going to see this probably turn into the world ends with you.
I was gonna. That's exactly what I thought. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I think it's incredibly likely that what happens is that the next game that bears the name Kingdom Hearts is a more modest, scaled back game, akin to Birth by Sleep, which has something that has immaculate production values but is less narratively ambitious than the numbered sequels.
Do you think they're going to dial back the Disney shit?
I think that they are going to dial back some of the Disney stuff, but I think, in the exact same way that Dream Drop Distance dialed back the Disney stuff. Dream Drop Distance feels in the same way that this game dialed back the
Final Fantasy
elements so heavily, Dream Drop Distance felt like, all right, well, let's just lean into this weird petting a neon purple stuffed bear in the stomach as much as possible, and make our own little world. And I kind of feel like that we might see that with the next game.
Okay. Yeah, all right, Josh, what about you, man? You got any theories on? Because I think the beer went down the wrong way on that one. I think that's like, after I thought about it, like I was right where Anthony is. I was like, I think that we're gonna get some The World Ends With You shit here going on here. Like but I want to see what you think.
I mean, I don't really know. Like, so with the ending, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Before I realized it was like Shibuya, you know, like that kind of thing, I was like, wait, are we in Final Fantasy 15? Like that was
I thought it was too, because I could have sworn I heard Somnus playing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like, this is Final Fantasy 15, so maybe the next game will lean away from Disney, but actually lean heavily into Final Fantasy. But no, I'm not really sure that's the direction they're gonna go. Honestly, most of my stuff is based around. Did you guys actually read the Secret Reports stuff?
I did not. No. I probably should, though.
You should look up the Secret Reports. I mean, you can just do the battle, like whatever things, all 14 of them. It takes an hour to go through them all. Aside from the last one, they're all really simple, and the last one's not that bad either. But they're all different. Actually, you don't even get a report for that. Never mind. But you get different reports. They're written from the perspective of like Xehanort when he is younger, and there's a couple written from Xehanort post. When he still has amnesia and stuff like that, when he's working under Ansem and talking about his experiments. And then you find out because Axel and Saix were talking about how they went into Radiant Gardens, became apprentices to meet this one girl. And they don't really elaborate on that. This straight up tells you who it is. And stuff
who
like
is
that.
it? I just assumed it was Xion before she was Xion.
That's what I thought too.
Nope, it is Ava.
What?
Oh, damn!
What? Hold on. Whoa, hold on. The black
It doesn't
girl.
say this in direct words, but they find another girl. They find this girl who has amnesia in the square, and all she remembers is her 4 friends and a keyblade.
Yeah, there it is. Holy shit! So that's not Zion. That's Ava.
It's so Ava is because remember Zigbar at the end of the game mentions something happening with Ava, and I think then there's this whole story from about her and stuff like that, and then Axel and Saix meeting her. And essentially, it kind of just fills in these little plot points while also pushing the story forward a little bit.
Holy shit! Okay, I did not. Okay, wow.
Go read it.
Yes, I will. Holy shit! I that one throws me for a loop. Wow.
I think the next game, at least for the main storyline, is gonna be all about finding Kairi, obviously. If Sora's involved, which presumably, but I think it's gonna be primarily about Ava and her connection to Zigbar and the connection to the Master of Masters.
Oh, I think they're gonna leave. You're absolutely gonna play as Sora though. Like they're not abandoning.
I would like more of what happened in this game. I loved getting to play as Riku, and my god, I love.
I want to play as Riku because his Keyblade is fucking dope.
Yeah, I just want to I want a Kingdom Hearts game, kind of like Birth by Sleep, where I maybe not 3 separate stories, but I want a Kingdom Hearts game where I'm at different points in the story, switching, like maybe not quite Mortal Kombat storyline kind of stuff, but give me like switching between characters.
I just want to play as Riku because his Keyblade looks like a car key, and for whatever reason, I just fucking love that. Like I just like. I keep expecting him to like, I don't know, like what if you could use that like Grand Theft Auto style in Shibuya? You could use that as like a mechanic to steal people's vehicles and drive all around Japan. Like, I would Grand Theft Hearts, Grand Theft Disney. Yeah, like just a great. What a great fucking game! Like it sounds like we were down on it at the beginning, but it's only because like when you love something as much as I love Kingdom Hearts, like it's really easy for you to nitpick and pick out all the stuff you don't love. But I guess what I'll ask here is and by the way, one more point I want to make. When I started watching the secret ending, I saw that big tower with the 2 pointy top, like it stopped in the middle and keeps going. I thought that was going to be the tower in Insomnia. Like I legit thought we were in Insomnia, And I expected to hear all of a sudden. I was waiting for Darren DePaul to kick in, like, it is an honor to be recognized, and I was just like, I was waiting for it. But if you guys, and here's the big question, we'll start with Anthony, and then we'll move to Josh, and then I'll go. If we had to rank Kingdom Hearts 3, where would we put it in the series as a whole? Anthony, where would you put Kingdom Hearts 3?
All right, John, I've been wanting to address at the beginning. You said like, oh, it sounds like we're negative. There is literally nothing about this game that I would change. I would like there to be more Final Fantasy characters, but I don't think that their absence is detrimental to it at all. I have no complaints out of this game, and I think that this is damn near perfect. Like, if a game succeeds based on achieving its goals as an artistic vision, this is a 10 out of 10. I love it. And the only thing that I ever wanted from Kingdom Hearts 3, other than to just be good and interesting, but Kingdom Hearts is almost always good and interesting, is that I wanted it to trim the fat that was in Dream Drop Distance and Birth by Sleep. Both of those games had a lot of extraneous content that really didn't need to be there, and I wanted to be a little bit more focused. I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is the best Kingdom Hearts. Number one, with a bullet. And then after that, Dark Horse, the second best Kingdom Hearts game ever, is recoded for the Nintendo.
I fucking knew you were going to throw some zesty bullshit in there.
That's a fun game.
Tight.
I knew you were gonna throw some spicy bullshit in there, Anthony. That's what I bring you on here for. I expect this from you.
Welcome to Flavor Town, dude.
I expect this from you. Fucking Johnny Garlic over here with the game opinions. Josh.
Yeah, I'm.
No, please.
Rules.
Oh my God, Anthony. We're gonna have to talk about this after we're done. Josh, what about you, man? Where would you rank Kingdom Hearts 3?
I have a hard time. Part of me is very desperate to keep Birth by Sleep as my favorite game. And while I agree it's a very bloated game, it just was very special to me in the storyline of that game. I don't know if it hit at the right point in my life, but just something about that just really just was important to me. But I gotta say, 3 is... I want to replay it to be sure, but I think it's probably my favorite game. Unlike Anthony, there are a few things I would change in the game. Just for personal things, I've never liked the Winnie the Pooh levels, but I feel like it's such a tacked on pointless fucking thing in this game.
It is, yeah.
I would like to either remove it or add more. That would be something I would change. Just a few quirks with the combat, the flow motion stuff being so talked about, and then it's not anywhere near what it was in Dream Drop Distance, but it's also not necessary because the combat's so good without it being a huge part. There's different things like I would tweak here, tweak there. The Final Fantasy stuff, sure, but ultimately, I mean, it's a really enjoyable story. It's got great combat. The worlds are arguably, I'd say, the best combined amount of worlds we have. Give me a final mix version of this game that just tweaks a few things and maybe adds a critical difficulty. And I would easily give this game a 10 out of 10. Right now, I'd probably give it a 9 or 9.5 if I did numerical rankings.
Okay. I think for me, I'm not sure it beats Birth by Sleep as my favorite in the series. It's probably a very close second. There are a few, just because I mean Tron Legacy is one of the best worlds in the entirety of the series for me. But
it was good.
More than that, I just love the characters of Terra, Ventus, and Aqua. But I love Kingdom Hearts 3. I feel like there are a few things I would personally change about it. I would add some more Final Fantasy characters personally, just because I felt like the game was missing that. There were some worlds that, I feel like even though you spent less time, or even though you spent more time in these worlds than you do in worlds in the other games, I was a little disappointed that there was no reason to go back to any of them.
Yep.
Once you're done, and there's no need to go back. I feel like while the combat was the absolute best in the series, I would have liked a little more challenge, and I felt like the combat leaned a little too heavy on the Disney ride stuff. I like every 5 seconds those Disney rides are popping up, and I was like, okay, I get it. Wow, this, you really want me to get on the teacups, don't you? And it was super novel and fun the first 50 times I did it in the first world, but I was like, oh man, like, and if there's only one more thing I could change about the game, it would probably be, there were some worlds I felt like would have been perfect fits for a Kingdom Hearts game where we're just inexplicably left out, like Wreck-It Ralph's world. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's there as a Link, but I feel like the world of like the arcade would have been, that's a fucking no-brainer in a Kingdom Hearts game for me. Star Wars, like, come on, like like lightsaber Keyblade. I mean, it writes itself. And there's so many parallels between like what you could do with the Heartless and the Sith. I feel like there was a huge missed opportunity there. The Incredibles would have been another fucking great world to have. While I do feel like this was the strongest collection of worlds in the series overall, I feel like there were some worlds that could have made it even more rich and more diverse. Like, I mean, the Marvel universe. Like, I mean, Disney owns Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how amazing it would have been to get like fighting the Black Order. Like, I mean, that would have been incredible. Like a Marvel themed Keyblade, or like a lightsaber Keyblade, or like I don't know. I just feel like there were some missed opportunities there. Having said that, the back end of the game is the absolute strongest Kingdom Hearts experience in the entire series, in my opinion. And even though I feel like there's it's missing some of that connective tissue that holds together a game like Birth by Sleep much more coherently, I feel like when you take all those parts and kind of mesh them together, especially elevated by that just incredible finale, like that's what elevates Kingdom Hearts 3 up to nearly at the top for me. It's not quite enough to beat out Birth by Sleep, but it's a damn good fucking video game, and I am very much looking forward to playing Kingdom Hearts 3 Final Mix when it releases next year.
Kingdom Hearts versus 13. That's
you guys know that shit is coming. This is not the final version of Kingdom Hearts 3.
There's a Final Mix.
It's coming, and there were some things I would love to see added in a Final Mix, like the Coliseum. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, I felt like the end game was a little lacking.
Well, the lack of a Coliseum, the closest thing they have is those battle things, the 14 things. But otherwise, where the hell's the Coliseum is the best part of 1, 2, and the variation they do in Birth by Sleep. It's that challenge of it is some of the best stuff in the game.
There's no Sephiroth. There's no Kurt Zyza. There's that you fight that one enemy. Well, I thought the super boss was super easy. But I don't know, Anthony. What about you, man? And that's something that we didn't really touch on. Is that like I felt like the end game itself was a little disappointing.
Oh, for me, I'm not really a post-game guy with Kingdom Hearts. The reason that I play all these games on easy, and the reason I just sort of quit after the fact, is I slaved to get to that Sephiroth fight in the original, and then I was like, screw you, game! I'm not doing this shit!
Yeah,
I'm going to the
ridiculous.
internet. I'm gonna wait 45 minutes for a 240 by 120 version of the secret ending to load on the GameSpot forums, and I'm just doing it that way for here on out. So I that stuff doesn't really bother me so much. I would have liked at least an excuse to go back to 1 or 2 worlds, but again, I was so glad that the game was just, we're going to tell a story, and we're going to tell it as clearly and as confidently as we possibly can. Made me so happy that I really wasn't, that worried about it.
All right. Well, what's funny is that I was like, when we first started this call, I was like, okay, we're going to go about half an hour, no problem. We're like at 53 fucking minutes now.
Yeah, my wife has been texting me for 20 minutes begging me to come out and take care of the kids.
The three of us are just, I don't know. I'm a talker, Josh, you're a talker, and everybody knows Anthony's a talker. So
I still have more I could say, honestly.
Yeah, but I could talk about the game for another hour, but I don't think we should do that.
Probably not.
I'm really gonna go play some of that Tetris Battle Royale over there on my Switch. But anyway, guys, this has been a great discussion. Kingdom Hearts 3. There's still a lot to talk about, and of course the series is not ended yet. I want to thank Anthony and Josh, 2 very good friends of mine, for joining me tonight. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it was a pleasure. This was great. I was ecstatic when you invited me.
All right, and with that being said, this has been our Kingdom Hearts 3 Spoilercast. Please join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you can watch us on Super Deformed Gamescast, talk about all the latest gaming news that happened that week. And we'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining us.
Play Recoded. Oh.